In this video, we're reading from FND Recovery Guide, Volume 1. What is FND? FND happens when the brain creates and reinforces a specific type of bad neural pathway that shouldn't be there. This FND pathway connects the emotional center to the movement center with a pit stop in the danger center. This danger center detour amplifies mild emotional signals into extreme danger signals, which can cause symptoms like weakness, tremors, and seizures, among many others. A complete list of symptoms is provided later in this chapter, and we will discuss them further in Chapter 9. When your brain and body stop communicating properly, you suffer real disabling symptoms. It's not just all in your head, although for years patients have felt dismissed by doctors who didn't have the full picture. Newer research and recent advances in imaging techniques prove that FND does involve structural damage. It is just harder to see, and standard tests like MRIs usually come back normal. That's why for many years doctors thought it was all psychological. FND symptoms change daily and are unique to each person. Stress, trauma, or injury can trigger episodes. It takes an average of 7 years to get an FND diagnosis, thanks to symptoms that vary in type and intensity. Sometimes they even vanish altogether for a few days at a time, just enough time to make you doubt yourself. Another thing that can delay a diagnosis is that FND mimics conditions like MS, epilepsy, or stroke, so it is frequently misdiagnosed. Many patients spend years getting the wrong diagnosis. This leads to wrong treatments, which are often harmful. Many doctors don't know what FND is, so patients have to fight to be taken seriously. It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and it delays treatment. FND has been called a lot of things over the years. Doctors change the name often as they learn more about the disorder. This solidifies my position that FND research is a growing field and that it's plausible I have discovered ways to heal that many doctors don't know about yet. Some names are outdated, some just plain ridiculous. Hysteria, ancient Greece to the early 1900s. Doctors thought that symptoms were caused by a wandering womb. Yes, seriously? The cure? Marriage or pregnancy. Neurosis, early 1900s to mid-20th century, a vague label for we don't know what's wrong. Conversion disorder, late 1800s to early 2000s, Freud's theory that emotional stress converted into physical symptoms. This stuck for decades, making people feel dismissed. Psychogenic neurological disorder, 1960s to 1990s, another attempt to blame the mind and ignore the brain. Somatoform disorder, 1980s to early 2000s, meant to validate symptoms but often left patients feeling gaslit. Functional somatic syndrome, 1990s to early 2000s, another broad term that missed the neurological side of things. Psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, PNES, 1980s to present, assumes seizures are purely psychological despite research proving otherwise. Non-epileptic seizures, NES, 1980s to present, a more neutral term, but still doesn't explain what's happening. Malingering, historically used, the worst of all, suggesting people are faking it, not a real diagnosis, just a way to dismiss patients. Functional neurological disorder, FND, current term. Finally, a name that recognizes this is a real neurological condition. We still have a long way to go, but hey, at least we're past the wandering womb era. How is FND diagnosed? FND has its own clinical signs now, and it is no longer just a diagnosis of exclusion. Tests like Hoover's sign and tremor distraction tests show the brain is misfiring signals. Other conditions are ruled out first. MRI scans, EEGs, and blood tests check for things like MS, epilepsy, or stroke. Once a diagnosis is reached, how it's explained matters. The best doctors describe FND as a brain-body communication problem, not all in your head. Recovery is possible. I'm going to read that again because that's the point of this book. Recovery is possible. With the right diagnosis and support, symptoms can improve. Understanding FND is the first step toward taking control of your life. So keep reading if you'd like to learn more about FND and the diagnostic process. So This book, FND Recovery Guide, was written by me, Alyssa Black, and here's the subtitle, 7 Evidence-Based Steps to Heal Functional Neurological Disorder, Volume 1. And it's a mix of science. I was reading a Say It Simply section, but if you read a regular section, there's tons and tons and tons of science cited throughout the book. This first book has 241 sources. The second book will have more. And also, I have managed to heal my FND by about 95%, and I'm still healing. So I'm a success story, and the science, it turns out, does back me up. So go ahead and get this book on Amazon if you're interested in healing your FND.